Now it is time for our last panel session of this evening's Global Networking Forum, which is titled Connecting All Space People in Challenging Geopolitical Environments. We would like to discuss today with distinguished speakers here on the panel the importance and the relevance of advocacy bodies like the International Astronautical Federation in connecting all space people despite different challenges of political, social, geographical, and any other nature. This is really in the DNA of the IAF. The IAF has been created, as you know, in 1951 by 10 learned societies, and these were times that were challenging as well. These were times of the Cold War, and the Federation has been and was established in order to bring together people that normally would not have so easy opportunity to speak to each other. Following this motto, and since then, we've been really trying to bring together a global, worldwide space community to meet, to exchange, to set up new partnerships. And of course, on the way, we've experienced also challenges. I would like to just recall maybe you can bring up this one slide, to recall a few of our events which we have had. You can bring them up all. Looking back, I mean, if I think of 2013, the IEC in Beijing, or the global conference, the CEST in 2017, also in Beijing, we had challenges. Yes, there were ressentiments and there were doubts from people whether it is good to go there, whether it's safe to go there. At the end, these were record-breaking conferences. The IEC was a record-breaking congress. The global conference was record-breaking. Going further to 2014, Toronto, where we had visa issues for certain countries. Still, we overcame them somehow. 2015, Jerusalem, a very challenging one in a quite challenging security environment and situation. Still, I always say that was the gathering of the hardcore of the IEC community, and at the end, very successful. 2016, in Guadalajara, we had also concerns about security, and it was with more than 5,000 people, another record-breaking congress. 2021, the GEX conference in St. Petersburg, just coming out, or not even coming out of COVID. We hosted this global conference still during a worldwide pandemic. And then, of course, Dubai, the first IEC after the pandemic. Also, the first IEC in an Arab country with a different culture, where we had many questions of what should we pay attention to, what is the dress code, what can we do, what we should not do. Again, a very successful one. And with this in mind, we are looking now ahead, and it is my great pleasure to introduce the moderator of this session that will lead us through the discussion, Dominique Tillmans, the special advisor to the IAF president on parliamentarian and ministerial relations, and also the president of EURISI. So Dominique, please, the board is yours.
Forget the stress, forget the fatigue, forget the strikes and all related concerns. We embark you to this evening. We embark you far away from technology, from science, from engineering, to discuss on geopolitics. And we will exchange on the difficulties on doing business in challenging geopolitical environments. It's not a common subject for IAF, huh? So we have 1 hour to think out of the beaten tracks, and with teasing questions. So forgive me if I blow hot and cold. My sole goal is to help to push, to move the lines. So please don't hesitate to interrupt the conversation. If you have any questions, you raise your hand, no problem. Our goal is to make this session dynamic, interesting, and useful. I start with the context. We are faced, and we have always been faced with numerous international tensions, and also several interconnected conflicts. But this situation never have prevented us from working. I think we all agree with that. So now I start with some questions. I blow cold. Don't we stay in our comfort zone too often, did we? Don't we prefer to do business in countries we know well, in an environment we know well, and with customers we know well? Are we ready, or do we want to get out of our comfort zone? No, I'm gentle, and I will ask a kind question. Are we ready? Are we ready to discover new market opportunities? Obviously, yes. Obviously, yes. But if I ask you, are you ready to explore distant countries you know little about? Countries in challenging political environment? Will your enthusiasm be the same? I'm not sure. So let's go a little bit further with harsh questions. Aren't we using too often the instability, the insecurity of those countries to just turn away? Of course, and we all agree again, the pandemic did not help and still does not help. On the contrary, but weren't we more bold before the pandemic? This is the question. I'm sorry if I shake you a little bit. However, getting out of our comfort zone always means dynamism, adaptation to changing economic environments, discovery of new needs, creation of new markets, adjustment and refinement of our products. It means agility. It means presence to gain influence and market shares. Let's take a concrete case. Many of you have been in IC Dubai. Many. But some of you today seems cold about the IC Baku. I'm someone practical and I'm someone very concrete. So we will see together if there is really business opportunities in Azerbaijan, if there is insecurity, if it's a country looking for contact, new contracts, yes or not? In one word, is it interesting to go to Baku? That's the question. So now I ask my panelists to come here. I ask to Clay Moret, I ask Andrea Slitendal, I ask Pascal Ehrenfreud, Michael Hashimiri, Leila Abdulleva, Steve Eisenhardt, and Heriberto Saldivar Massimi to come on the floor. So I start with you, Clay. So Clay Moret, You know, he's president of IAF. I don't know it, not know. So, but you are also chief revenue officer, Voyager Space Holdings. So Clay, you are a top-level industry representative. Yes? Do you think we too often prefer to do business in countries we know well and with customers we know well and in environment we know well? And my underlying question, it's your first IC in Baku. It will be the first one for you. And so what are your expectations and concerns? Tell us.
So for sure, the beginning of your premise here, it's always easier to go to what you know. It's always easy to know. And I've been working both for a European company. I worked for Ariane Space for 15 years. I was with Ariane Space. So I was in Europe quite a bit, traveled to Paris was my second home for a long time, and also working for American companies and on behalf of American industry. And it's always easier to go with what you know, with the Western cultures, with the Western systems that you know and you're comfortable and inside your comfort zone. And believe me, even Paris is a challenge for some of my American friends and colleagues. You go to Paris, oh my God, how do you navigate the French, huh? But this is the preference always. But for me, Baku, it was very interesting. You know, I went to visit this country last summer to go see the facilities, to tour the facilities there. And it was I say, and quelle surprise, huh? It was like this amazing place to go. I don't know what I was expecting. You know, the neighborhood is interesting. Okay, geographically, you have Iran to the south, you have Russia, Georgia, you have Armenia, you have. There's really this common language with Turkey and Kazakhstan and Turkmenistan, where they have some sort of a common language piece that goes across and culturally that goes all the way back to the Ottoman Empire. I learned a lot about history, by the way, when I was there. I didn't know are they the Caucasus? What do they consider themselves in terms of a regional player? And who are their compatriots in this area? And how do they think about it in themselves in history and as a place? And of course, it was I don't know how many, a few decades ago that it was more in this Russian Soviet sphere. And now they have a real identity. Now they have a real purpose that they're trying to carve for themselves. And it's interesting. It's super modern. It's super clean. It's super efficient. It's one of the most beautiful cities I've been to, just on the Caspian Sea. And it really exceeded every expectation I had, really. And I don't say that because I'm the president of the IAF. I really was like, wow. You know, you get almost some flavor there when you're there that's like a bit like Dubai, but without maybe some of the commercialism, you know. It's a bit more authentic. Yeah. It even has, in some of the streets, a bit of a feel of Paris, if you believe it or not. You know, some of that Haussmann style in the buildings, in the yeah? You're saying no. No strikes, yeah, no strikes, but yet no strikes. And the people are super warm, and they're super inviting, and they want you to understand their culture. But I felt completely safe walking at night in the avenues, you know, and the women are there very modern, you know, no headscarves. It was really a revelation for me to go there. Raina, you were fantastic as my host, by the way. So, you know, I'm excited about it. I think of it as a real opportunity to expand. And what's interesting to me, too, I saw kind of the path of Azercosmos as they started as a satellite operator, and they're now becoming a space agency, and meeting with them, and to see how they're trying to forge their way as an emerging space power, as a space agency. And this is interesting to watch, you know. What I was saying earlier today when we were talking with the TAC, that in some places that we've gone to, like Australia, for instance, in Adelaide, where we helped to form, in some ways, the space agency. Really, this was the major announcement. And this is something to feel great about as the IAF, that we could actually foster this and really launch a space agency in Australia as another emerging space power. And so this is great. And I hope that we have the same impact in going back. I know it was a long time ago that it was there, but we have the same impact for Azerbaijan, that it really puts it on the map as a regional influencer there in space, and that we really start to incorporate in the region. It's a challenge for a lot of these countries, particularly ones that maybe even have the resources and a bit of the technical capability, then to figure out, well, what do we do in space? How do we foster, I call it capacity building. How do we build capacity in space with these countries? And so for me, this is really our role as the IAF, is to go to these countries to build the capacity, to build the community, and to start to build regional centers around space. And so I'm excited about it. I think it'll be fun.
Thank you, Clay. What you forgot to say that the food is excellent.
The food was great.
Yeah, the food is excellent.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So, Andreas Lietenthal, you are Vice President for Financial Matter and Industrial Relations IAF, and you are also Head of Business Operations, Space Systems, Spacecraft Equipment, and Space System Germany, Airbus Defence and Space. So, Andreas, you are also a top-level industry representative. So, do you think the COVID pandemic has changed something in the business world? That's my first question. And my underlined question, how do business interests of companies influence the support and participation in IAF events?
Yeah, thank you very much, Dominique. So in my view, having the overview not only in our company but also in other space companies, I don't think that COVID had a significant impact. If I see the operational performance of companies, if I see the economic basis of companies, we did not have such a huge impact in the industrial landscape. What I see currently with the changes on the financial market, inflation, etc., has a much bigger impact because companies, people were very quick to learn how to live and how to work efficiently with these in this new environment, and I think it has demonstrated the resilience of the industry in this area. So therefore, it's definitely not impacting. So when it comes to participation in IAF conferences or any conference, well, we are companies. We want to make money. This is the major purpose, and a part, of course, of, let's say, some other aspects. But of course, there is always a consideration. Let's say, what is the effort we have to spend? What does it bring? And therefore, I think that's the reason why, rightly, we in IAF are focusing on topics like what is relevant for industry. So as a chairman of the Industrial Relations Committee, I think we spend a lot of time in trying to anticipate what is, let's say, what are the hot topics, what is of interest. And of course, people, company members, employees are coming in order to exchange, in order to learn, in order to present what is currently at stake in their companies. And I think that has the big value, coming together, exchanging, networking, and preparing the roadmap for the next period.
Okay. Thank you, Andreas. Now I ask Pascal. I will ask Pascal, you are the past President IAF, but also President Committee on Space Research and President ISO. So you have been elected first female president of IAF. Marvelous. And your term... Good conquest. And
not the last.
And your term started with a challenging situation. I think for the next president, after you, Clay, the next one must be very attentive. There's all the times problems. So you start with a challenging situation, so the COVID-19 pandemic, which did not allow IAF to organize in person the Congress. And so you decide to organize it remotely. Please tell us how you adapted to this new situation, and thanks to your experience, how do you see the 23 Baku IC?
Thank you, Dominique. I remember, we had these very, very strong IICs in Bremen, in Washington, D.C., and then came COVID. And I have to say that it's really due also to the IAF Secretariat, which really proposed a solution. And actually, I have honestly to say, quite skeptical that we could manage a whole week of a real IAC cyberspace edition. I thought probably 2 days or 3 days are probably better. Yeah, so I was quite skeptical, and I think the executive director Christian and the others were full behind, and so the whole bureau and the president actually joined in, and it was an incredible experience because we were here. We did it more or less in the IAF bureau office, secretariat, which is in Avenue Suffren. And everything was in lockdown, so you could not, it was even very difficult to get food. Yeah? And we were all in masks, and we are very professionally working with partners. IAF has very, very good partners in communication. And we made a studio out of the IAF Bureau Secretariat office and made the whole Congress there. And I must say we were, I think, one of the first large congresses which did this virtual, as by now, you know, this is something which is really even a business case, an economic business case. But it worked really rather flawless. And what we could actually reach is that we reached, because it was free of charge, between 12 and 13,000 people worldwide. So actually more than when we are in presence. And I think these were people which could not afford to come here. And I think that was it was a tough financial decision, but it was a very important decision for IAF for the future. And we recovered, and I think we did all our future conferences then in between two COVID waves. when I remember, we have been in St. Petersburg before the soccer EM had drastic changes, and then also when we were in Dubai, it was some kind of a gap. And in between, there were always lockdowns. So, and I think something what we also have to mention, that we did a very successful virtual GNF series, which Andreas organized together with the IAF Secretariat, so that we kept our presence virtually, continuously between all the meetings which we had between this curve. So it was exciting. And Dubai, I think, was also a little bit unexpected in a way that we expected approximately 3,300 participants. And then in the last week, we realized, wow, we were going to over 4,000. And at the end, there were over 5,000. So that was very close to Naples, or more or less the same number than Naples, before COVID. So also due to the Space Expo and the good relations we had and the venue, it was a very, very smooth IAC in Dubai. And then came Paris, where the croissants were gone by 8:05, because we had 2,500 people more than we even expected. And now we are going to Baku, and I want to end with that I can only concur with what Clay said. I had the same experience, and in particular also going in the old city, having all religions peacefully together, which is hardly ever possible. And it is a special venue, and I think the IAF has this kind of very, very strong will, to connect people worldwide, and I think it will be a great success.
Thank you. Thank you. No, it's up to you, Michel Hashimimri. You are Vice President for Diversity Initiative IAF, and you are also aerospace consultant and special advisor for CEO Saudi Arabian Commission. So Michel, because Saudi Arabia has announced its big ambition to become one of the leading space nations, so last year the Saudi Space Commission has applied to host the IC 2025 in Riyadh. But in the General Assembly, disapproved the recommendation from the Bureau and from the Commission. It was a surprise for all of us. But now, a few months later, what are your lessons learned with this experience? As a representative of course, IAF, as a representative of SSC?
Thank you so much for that complicated question. To start, I would like to reiterate that we have confidence in the IAF and the CSEC because we know that they've adopted a very heavily technical and meticulous selection process for which that they want to assure the utmost level of quality of service, that the members and the venue that hosts the IAC is welcoming to everybody. They also consider geopolitics as well as cultural considerations. So we understand that. As you mentioned that Saudi Arabia, we are new members to the IAF, and to show our commitment, we wanted to host the IAC 2025. As you're probably aware, and maybe some of you are not, we are very well versed in hosting events. I mean, we had the Formula One a few weeks ago. We host multiple events, whether they're cultural, sports, entertainment, you name it, we've done it, and we do really large. And our scale and our hospitality is really, really high up there because as Arabs, that's something we pride ourselves in. So with regards to the bid last year, which came after we became members, we wanted to showcase our commitment. We were selected by the CSEC because we've met every single aspect that we actually went above and beyond the requirements, and we made sure that we attracted young people. We wanted to host and sponsor many young students, fully taken care of. We wanted to host in emerging countries. We wanted to provide boosts for them, to have an opportunity for them to network, because the whole point is a space for all. What we were kind of disappointed in the outcome because we felt that the General Assembly did not necessarily oppose based on the actual bid, but rather on their misconceptions and views. And if we look at misconceptions and media and views, if that's the case, none of us would be here in Paris because the media has been blasting fires and protests. But people, the onus is on us to do the due diligence and not to just believe outdated views and misconceptions. So that was kind of disappointing because, in my opinion, if the CSAC and the Bureau, who are elected, made the recommendation, they clearly thought of every aspect. And so that disapproval by the General Assembly for us to take the bid is discouraging. Why is it discouraging? Because we felt like this is an inclusive organization. But that particular aspect made us feel excluded, which is the opposite of a space for all. So as such, I feel like the experience was very eye-opening. I think the question is not what we learned, but what we all learned, that this is an inclusive organization. And to be honest, if the General Assembly felt that we do not qualify or we do not meet the values of the IAF, then why are we members? Why were we accepted as members? So why is it that we get accepted as members but not accepted as a host to bring everybody? Because we are open to everybody and we encourage you, for those of you who have those misconceptions, to come visit us. We are very open. We want you to come see Saudi. A lot of people have come and they changed this misconception, so we welcome everybody. Regardless, we will continue to contribute. We will come strong. We will have an active presence. We are one of the largest sponsors, platinum sponsors for Baku, and that shows our commitment and continued commitment. And we hope that the IAF will try to push the General Assembly members to kind of be more inclusive. And that's technically my job as VP as well. So I will also push for that. So that's pretty much my response. Thanks.
Very convincing. very convincing. I would like to ask, there is someone who worked in Azerbaijan now, who worked before in Azerbaijan? There is someone in the room? Nobody has been in Baku? Of course. Worked, okay. Can you... What did you think?
Well, thank you, Mrs. Teelman. I think you picked the wrong person because I'm married to an Azerbaijani lady. And so I lived in Baku for 5 months, and I can only concur with what Clay described. It's a surprise. I remember that 20 years ago when I was invited at the early start of Space Generation Advisory Council, Elchin Babayev, who is quite a senior person now in Azerbaijan. Back then he was the national point of contact in Azerbaijan, and I was the European coordinator. And he invited me for the Turkish Space Generation Forum. And I had worked pretty hard at ESA, and I looked at the map, and I saw the Caspian Sea, and I was like, oh, wow, Turkish seas, I deserve a holiday. And I went there, I fell in love, and, I took Azerbaijan with me. We've got 4 beautiful children. It's an experience I can recommend everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
This interview almost looked like it was prepared, but it was not, I swear.
It was not. So now I go to Leila Abdoulaye Neva. So you are ambassador of Azerbaijan in France, and so you are a key person, in this panel. So, Mrs. Ambassador, of course, you continue. Everybody knows it. We host the IC 2023 now in Baku. So, please tell us why people have to come to Baku, and there is, and at the same time, are there any safety issues, as some people think? Can you explain?
Sure. Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. First of all, I think the earlier panelists who spoke made my job easier. So while sharing their experiences about their visits to Azerbaijan, so I thank everyone for their warm words about my country. So I think after this panel, many people will decide to go to Baku to attend the IAC 74th edition. In fact, this is our expectation. Why people should go to Baku? Well, first, probably many of you have an idea about Azerbaijan, where it's located, the geopolitics around, but at the same time, the country which has hosted 50 years ago, for the first time in 1973, being part of the USSR, the 24th edition of IAC, 50 years after, now is going to host the 74th edition, but this time as an independent state. So this has really a symbolic importance for us. So this will be also another element which can be considered as a support of the international community to the independent policy of Azerbaijan that we are pursuing in the region. Well, second, Azerbaijan is an emerging space country. A lot have been sent here. Well, in fact, I'm sitting here in the place of the head of the Azercosmos agency. He could not come at the very last moment, but I'm lucky to be among you about the space people. This is my first experience, by the way. So Azercosmos, this is the agency which implements the national policy in Azerbaijan, which had this is the agency which has made a successful transition, being a satellite operator in a short time as the national agency which implements the space policy in my country. But at the same time, this is the first and the only regional operator for the moment, which plays a key role in the region and provides telecommunication and Earth observation services. Today, more than 40 countries worldwide. So we are now part of the IAF family. We are very actively developing the space strategy in our country. So we believe that by hosting the IAF 74th edition, which will from one side will contribute to the global mission of IAF building bridges between the space communities all over the world. From the other side, it will create an opportunity for many people to discover the region, which will in a way be also an opportunity for many to meet many new consumers. Because Azerbaijan is not only Azerbaijan and Caucasus. If you look at the map, Azerbaijan is linked very much to the Central Asian countries. We have very good cooperation. This is all about, it's not only energy, because many people, when you say about Azerbaijan, they come with the oil and gas. No, it's not only the energy, it's about connectivity, it's about transport, it's about economy, it's about the values that we share with Europe in the end. So this was the Azerbaijan's decision to join the family of Council of Europe, to join the OSCE, to be the active partner of NATO, the alliance. So we have taken the obligations and we are implementing these obligations. No one asked us, no one forced us. And it's the same for the space society, space affairs as well. So we are being active, we are engaged, and we believe that space is the issue which should be a contributor to the peaceful use of the space affairs. So, which is not, unfortunately, for the time being is the case, but we strongly believe that the 74th edition in Baku will contribute in a way to these subjects. It will, during 4 or 5 days, more than 200 activities, scientific activities will take part. Many scientists will come, not from our region, but from the neighboring regions as well. So it is about hospitality, it's about discovering a new nation, new country, new cuisine. So we have many great places to discover. Even the inner city, the central part of Azerbaijan, is being registered by UNESCO as the cultural heritage list. So many things to discover. But when it comes to the second part of your question about the security concerns of some, well, there is no safe place in the world, I guess, today. But maybe many of you will be surprised if I share some statistics about Azerbaijan. According to the Global Peace Index 2022, Azerbaijan is considered being top 10 peaceful countries in Eurasia. And Baku is considered to be the most safe, among the most safe 50 cities worldwide. So yes, there is an not easy neighborhood. The only thing that you just open the map and just see where the Azerbaijan is located, you can see the sensitivity of the region. But we are very proud that we are a young democratic country. My country is younger than me, so it's 32 years old country. Situated in a challenging neighborhood, but it is a real island of stability about which we are really honored to talk about. And this is the country which has restored its territorial integrity and now entered the path of building peaceful relations with its neighbors. So after many years of hostilities, now we enter this post-conflict phase to build peace, in which we believe, in which the process is continuing. So in a way, well, if you talk about the physical security, again, I will tell you that Azerbaijan is the place where hundreds of international gatherings is organized every year. In 2 weeks, we will organize also Formula 1 in Baku. It's already the 5th year that we're hosting Formula 1. A month ago, we hosted Non-Aligned Movement Summit. This is the platform which gathers 120 countries worldwide. So a month ago, these people, summit, top level, came to Baku. So we have many events organized in Azerbaijan. So I really sincerely believe that there should be no security concern for anyone. And from the other side, this will be an opportunity to discover the country, but also from the point of, from the scientific point of view, to start many beginnings in Baku. So, as you said, probably it is not an easy task to take you out of your comfort zone, but I sincerely believe that once we will organize, we will be integral part of your comfort zone. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I go to Steve Eisenhardt. Steve, you are Vice President for Global Networking from IAF, but you are also Senior Vice President Space Foundation. So my question, so you organized the biggest US space event called Space Symposium in Colorado Springs. So are you also facing with geopolitical challenges? Yes, no? Can you explain?
Sure. Well, I thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity to participate on this panel. And Dominique refers to the Space Symposium, which we'll be looking forward to welcoming many of you here in just 2 weeks' time. Geopolitics is, it's part of the environment that we have to operate in, so it's no different for us. We actually, well known as a U.S. conference, are actually a very international conference right now. We'll be having some 16 heads of agency there, more than 40 nations, and it is very much an international conference, and because of that, we do face all the same things with the geopolitics. Our situation is even a little bit trickier because we also have a very significant military component to and national security component to our conference, which sort of heightens some of the emotion around some folks. And I'll kind of go back maybe anecdotally for a while. So around 2008, we decided to present our Space Achievement Award, our biggest award, to the Chinese for the Tanggu mission. And we were all of a sudden faced with a lot of our national security customers saying, "Why are you doing this? What is it about? It's going to change the whole flavor of everything." And at the end of the day, it was really the right thing to do. It was the most significant space achievement of that year, and so we did it. It did open up a number of other opportunities, both reciprocal stuff where we've gone there. Some of my friend here taking yet another picture of me. Famous in China, but I've had the opportunity now to visit China 10 times as a result of that opening up that we did. We participate with the IAF in a international conference on peaceful uses of space for health, very much hosted by in partnership with our Chinese colleagues. So I also think that the geopolitics really, two more observations about it. One, it does create opportunities. It's bringing new players and new actors into the environment that we're doing. New countries, new companies, new various forms that are doing that. But the other real observation I would make is things are temporary. We go up and down with some of these kinds of things. We have had times where we've not been able to grant visas. I would also point out very much, we are a non-governmental organization, the same as the IAF. I don't have the ability to grant a visa to anybody. That's my government that does it. So we do have to kind of distinguish that emotionally if there's situations that come up and down. But they do vary. We've had times where we've been very close and had Russian delegations participating in the symposium on panels. We've had times where the Chinese have been able to join us and where they've not been able to. Those are the ebb and flow of the geopolitics, I think. And I think if we look at it from the long haul point of view, that's really where we are going to be best off. And I, for one American, look very much forward to it. To going to Baku. I will also say that in terms of opportunities, Raina and Danae were at the symposium last year. For many of our American companies and others that were at the symposium, their first opportunity to engage with them, and I think it was successful in how that does. And I think we'll see this on through during the remainder of the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Now a question to Heriberto Saldivar Massimi. So, Heriberto, you are head of the Foreign Foresight Strategy and Coordination Department, ESA. And the question. So, ESA is one of the strongest supporters of the Federation through many years, many events. ESA is present in numerous events of IAF, with a big delegation, big exhibitions. And in 2021, ESA was in Dubai with a big delegation, a big exhibition. It was the first, we said that many times today, it was the first outside ESA member, first even outside ESA member. The question, but I think we all know the answer, can we count on ESA support for the IEC in Baku? And my underlying question, is it important or not to organize events like our Congress in Baku outside ESA member states?
Well, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Indeed, international cooperation is actually in the core of the European Space Agency. We have 22 member states and other cooperating states. So we're always trying to search cooperation. You saw the presentation that Joseph had today. We're working with JAXA, NASA. Our Director of International Affairs couldn't be here today because he's in India building bridges. So we at ESA are always trying to see how we can build bridges. And at the same time, we also have seen a couple of presentations about the challenges that we have ahead of us. We have a climate crisis ahead. We have the big problem of debris, and that needs to be solved with international partners and working together. Yes, ESA has been, and it is, a very strong supporter of IAF. And we are continuing to doing it very happily. At the same time, this year is going to be a very hectic year for ESA. We have the launch of JUICE, Euclid, we have new astronauts. Joseph mentioned it, we have a situation with launchers that we need to do, and we are engaged in a very strong process of transformation. We need to have the agency ready to be able to be a strong partner internationally, but also to achieve all of these challenges that we get ahead. Nevertheless, ESA will participate in Baku. We're going to be attending them with a delegation, and we will always be supporting IAF.
Thank you. There is another testimony from someone who is being in Baku, who is working in Baku. There is someone else? Not a lot, huh? No, but we will have more next time when we have been in Baku. So, Mrs. Ambassador, I come back to you again. With an important question for the industry representatives. What are the potential business opportunities open to the international community in Azerbaijan? And do you think Azerbaijan has contracts to discuss with industrials in Baku?
Yes, thank you, Madam Moderator, for this question. Well, Azerbaijan is the leading economy in the region, in the South Caucasus, as I said. During last 32 years of independence, there have been a strategy on development of the economic, social sphere in Azerbaijan, which has been successful because now we can say that this is the leading economy in the region, not only in the South Caucasus, but in a greater region if we look at the map. Of course, this hosting of this edition, IAC's 74th edition, will create many opportunities for the industry representatives from the space sector to meet the new consumers, as I said, not only from our region, but also from the neighboring regions, more exactly from the Central Asian countries. But as I've mentioned, our Azercosmos is also implementing Earth observation observation services for many countries. We are proud to have many international partnerships in this regard. I can mention a few of them. We have the partnership in the peacekeeping operations as well. We have a partnership with the UN in Africa peacekeeping missions. We have a partnership with the United States in Afghanistan peacekeeping operations. And of course, we have other services, Earth observation services that we are implementing. Well, I took took note, not to make a concrete reference, I would like to mention specifically the opportunities that we will extend to the participants. This is about the business opportunities such as hosting ground stations in our premises. Well, just for your information, one of those ground stations is the establishment of RIM, Ranging and Integrity Monitoring Station of the European Geostationary Navigation Overlay Service in Azerbaijan. So this is the Europe's regional satellite-based augmentation system that is used to improve the performance of global navigation satellite systems such as the GPS and Galileo. And it has been deployed to provide safety of live navigation services to aviation, maritime, land-based users in the most European countries. And these capacities have been showed also during his visit to President Charles Michel in 2021. And also taking the advantage of the geopolitical location of my country, humanitarian aid was provided to Ukraine with the direct support of the Earth observation satellites. So just a piece of information for you. Of course, the energy security is another sphere when we talk about Azerbaijan, because we share a strategic partnership with the European Union in energy, and Azerbaijan is considered now one of the reliable sources for diversification of energy to Europe. So indeed, the IAC Baku edition will open the new opportunities for many industry companies to meet the new consumers. For the first time, well, I have been said, I've learned also recently that the Baku IAC edition will provide an access for the platform labeled signing ceremony, so which will allow the organizations and companies to have an opportunity to sign agreements with the wide presence of international media outlets. So certainly there will be an opportunity to discuss, to discover, so we invite everyone to be part of the IAC 74th edition in Baku. Thank you.
Clay, I come back to you. Is it difficult for IAF to fulfill its mission in time of global crisis?
Yes, I think the answer is yes. Huh? I think we're in challenging times. I think, as Steve said, it ebbs and it flows. But just today, we were talking about some of these very issues, both at the bureau level and afterwards, about how do we deal with in space. If we talk with NASA, we have a space station up there now, and Russia is part of the space station, and we want to ensure the safety and operation of that space station in orbit for sure, despite the war, despite the crisis that's it. So you have to overcome these. And I think as a space community, we always are thinking about space, not seeing borders. We're looking down, whether it's a satellite network or an Earth observation satellite. Space is inherently international. What we do is inherently international. It's inherently global and sometimes even universal, because we're going well beyond just the planet Earth. So we are challenged as a space community to think about cooperation beyond natural borders. It's part of our essence about what we do. And in times of global crisis, in times of war, it's important that we continue to try to communicate with one another. We continue to try to foster and grow the space community because really what it's all about, and I say this all the time, space, all of you probably know this, right? I mean, you work in the space industry. What we're doing is trying to benefit life here on Earth. We're trying to use space to communicate, to navigate, to understand our climate and the changing aspects of the Earth, to do things more efficiently, to really to connect the world in so many ways. It's a great industry to work with, right, and to work in, because the goals are so transformative across all of humanity, what we're trying to do. But that's a hard thing to do when you have governments fighting with each other. It's a challenge. And the perceptions, I think a bit what Mish said earlier, there's a lot of perceptions out there because of what we see in the media, what we see. And we know as individuals, when we sit on committees together, when we talk with each other, that the people, in essence, are trying to do the right thing on cooperation. And so we have to try to overcome those things. As the IAF, it's a challenge sometimes. Myself as an American now, leading an international organization, I find myself really trying to think a bit outside of my American sphere and what's it like? What's it like to be able to cooperate across cultures, across borders? So it's a challenge for sure, but it's one we have to overcome. I think it's inherent to what we do, how we cooperate. This body is a bit of a magical thing that we have. All these countries, 75 nations that are sitting there talking with each other about common objectives. That's an incredible thing that we do every day in this organization, in our committees. So, we have to keep at it. We have to calm, think about things rationally, think about how do we travel, how do we connect, how do we continue to achieve the goals of the Federation, and make life better on Earth, right? It's all about making life better here on Earth. So,
thank you, Chris. So there is no testimonial. I will give you my experience for Azerbaijan. I've been many times in Azerbaijan. During 5 years, I've been many times there, and I love difficulties. I love to work with the difficulties. I launched 2 projects: Azerbaijan, Georgia, Armenia. So you see, the first project was Peace Need a Woman Touch. Not easy. And the second one, Space with Peace. So it was very difficult. I told you it was a very difficult project. But anyway, I met in Azerbaijan very nice people, an hospitality that it was from region. It's so warm, so chivalrous. It's so nice people. And I would like to invite you to go in Baku. We must be numerous in Baku. We must show that IAF continue its mission despite the crisis. It's our mission. We have to bridge the people all over the world. So I hope to see you in Baku. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks a lot, Dominique, and a big thanks to all our distinguished speakers here. I can only join what was said here in very impressive way. That also for me, of course, I did not dare to raise my arm when you were asking for a testimony, but for me also, before Azerbaijan and Azercosmos has submitted a bid to host IEC 2022, actually, originally. We were just moved then by 1 year due to COVID. For me, it was also a totally unknown environment. And coming to Baku was exactly the same eye-opener as Clay was talking about and Pascal was talking about and many others have talked about it. And I would just wish that all of you will have the opportunity to also get this eye-opening moment when you come to Baku in October this year. I would like to thank all the speakers here, but also all the previous speakers, and ask you for giving them another round of applause and thanking them.